Hey, Llama. Hey, how about a little something, for the effort, And he says, there won't be any money, but when you die, on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness and a chance to listen to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
The podcast universe has exploded with amazing content for everyone to listen to. And there are so many incredible shows with just not enough time to listen to all of them. So if you're asking yourself, what do I listen to? The answer is real simple. Thrive Loud is the must-listen to, can't miss an episode, gotta hear what's next, most fun, energizing, and inspiring podcast show you'll ever encounter. With hundreds of episodes of guests ranging from CEOs, entrepreneurs, innovators, thought leaders, inspiring speakers to amazing humans, Thrive Loud is the real deal. Listen in as Lou Diamond decodes what makes incredible people thrive. If you're a regular listener, you already know this. And if this is your first time listening, get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have the founder of Trading Strategy Guides. This is a guy who's managed to really maximize the marketing system and the ability to scale and launch your business through the lessons that he's learned in launching his own business. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Casey Stubbs. Casey, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Lou.
Casey comes to us from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, which we just learned has a trifecta. It's got Arnold Palmer, the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp, and Rolling Rock beer. I love it. It's a phenomenal Western Pennsylvania trifecta there. You've been there your whole life?
I've lived here since 2005 and have really loved this area.
Awesome. So you have an interesting background, and I want to kind of rewind the clock a little bit to understand what your main bit was first before Trading Strategy Guides came in, and then we're going to kind of understand some of the key lessons that you've learned. How does that sound? So take us not to the womb, but at least to what you were doing before you started Trading Strategy Guides.
Okay, that's a great question. So I was in the military for 10 years, was in the Army, did several deployments around the world, really enjoyed that quite a bit. And then after that, I was in construction. And so around 2008, the economy kind of shifted where we were losing work and construction side of things. And I got laid off, didn't really have anything going on. I tried to apply for a lot of work, couldn't get any work. So thought I'd give my shot at running a online business. And that's when I combined my hobbies of website building and trading to start my trading business online.
So let's talk about trading. Now, you happen to have an expertise in currency trading. Is that really your niche?
Currency trading, which is looking at the exchange rates. When you're traveling and you're going to another country, you have to exchange your currency, and there's always a different value based off of that. And those prices are always changing based off of trading and what's happening in specific economies. And so traders can make profits off of that by looking at charts and trying to analyze the direction of those currency rates.
Now, I happen to work on Wall Street for a while, so I know a lot about spot and forward rates, specifically in different currencies and dollar euro and a dollar yen type of transactions. So I guess I want to ask the question, this is something that most people actually kind of focus on institutionally. How did you come about this and doing it by yourself and by your own entrepreneurial efforts?
Well, it opened up more recently to the retail trader, is what they like to call them. It became very popular early 2000s that's when it launched out, where they just allowed individual traders. And I got my start in the stock market. My dad was trading stocks when I was 16 years old, and I was setting up computers for him because he didn't know how to use the computer and he wanted to trade online. And that was like in 1995. But then after that, it branched out into the currencies, and I just saw some advertisements for currency trading, and I thought I'd give it a shot, and that's how I got started.
So one of the things I know about you is it's not so much about your trading component of the business, which is impressive, but actually what you marketed around this business and how you've actually helped to not only scale using social media and emails and all of those components, but also how to help train others and utilize those services. Can you share that with the listeners on what you've been able to provide others through your lessons?
Sure. So when I first started way back, my website launched in 2009 and didn't know anything about business or web business specifically. And I just started writing articles online, just kind of sharing myself like I'm doing now. I found that works really good. Just be open, transparent, and share yourself. People like that. And so people were drawn to my website. Didn't have any idea how to turn it into a business, but then I learned that I just needed an opt-in form to collect their email address. And so once I started doing that, I started to build a list, and I connected with a couple traders, and they're like, hey, I'd really like your email list. I would like to help you out. And so I got connected with them, and then they started to provide me with training. And then from there, it advanced into training, where we were just sending out training via email and also on the web. And that was back in 2009, and today we're using social media, all of the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, running paid ads, setting up sales funnels, trying to connect traders with the education and training that we provide.
Okay, so now help understand the scope 10/11 years later, what that looks like today at Trading Strategy Guys. How many people are signed up for these courses? Give the listeners a breadth of the perspective of what's grown over the last decade.
Okay, so my total overall list size is roughly 250,000 people have signed up to be on the list over the past few years. And right now we're running a lot of people through, and we just recently did, because of what's happening with the coronavirus and a lot of people getting laid off and a lot of people at home, I made a special promotion where I ran my most popular trading course, which is it's called my full account access course, which I teach from beginner to end. I offered that up for free just to give people the ability to earn revenue from home, since a lot of people are laid off. And as a result, we got about 4,000 people signed up in a matter of a week.
Oh, man.
So a lot of response to that. And we're getting a lot of response now to a lot of our promotions that we're doing.
Well, what works and what doesn't work is what I love to ask people when it comes to different marketing things. And that's specific to you. Casey, what are the things that have really been successful more often than not, and things that you may have tried in the past and said, that's not really the best way to market and target my customers? For those that are thinking about best ways to attract customers or people to their business, their product, their service.
So for me, the best thing that works the best is just being really open with people, trying to have their success as your end result. When I'm thinking about marketing, I'm also thinking about, as a business, things like, okay, when I get a customer, I know how much it costs me to acquire that customer. And so I want to spend the most amount of time making that customer happy, because that's my most expensive cost. So once I get a customer, I want to really take care of them, and provide a great experience for them so that they can continue to be my customer, and so that they can have a great experience. Because if I'm just burning through customers over and over again, that is kind of like spinning my wheels, and I don't want to go there.
Mm-hmm. What has been, so let's talk about give me something give me a tactic maybe that you've used that has may have brought in the customers, but maybe not the right ones, or may have failed in bringing in the customers. I want to find the thing that doesn't work.
So one of the things that doesn't work is if you try to run promotions and you try to get a lot of money up front, you're raising the prices too high. I've tried to at times just raise the ceiling on the prices, and I've just realized that I need to be more reasonable, try to get people where they're at, and keep my prices for my training courses at a more affordable rate. Because I've seen some other businesses that have run it up, and so I tried to follow that, and that just did not work for me.
Gotcha. So you found a sweet spot that worked price-wise that can get a lot of people and maybe a lower rate, but it's a lot of people, and then the numbers work out to your advantage.
Right. And of course, as the customers develop, you offer more advanced levels of training for them. And so the ones that have success will move on to the higher levels of training.
Gotcha. Casey, as an entrepreneur, I love asking questions. Like, you've had a run of doing this yourself. You're innovative. You've helped to start products. How you actually work by yourself or with your team, and how you lead is always a real challenge every day, because when you do that, you're on your game. You're kicking on all cylinders on one day, and other days you might be stumbling because it's just not as easy. On those days that you have trouble thriving, who or what practice do you seek out to get back on the thriving track?
So I try to have an overall big vision. I think the big vision really helps me. And so one of the things that I've done is I wrote down a 3-year vision, and I keep it on my desk. It's actually right here in my hand as I talk about it. It's the company's 3-year vision. Mm-hmm. And it's got all of the different things that I'm believing that we're going to accomplish. And I use that as my guide light and as my guidepost to help me to move forward. And I use it to communicate vision to my team, because as a leader, when I speak to my team, a lot of times they just don't get it. Like, it's in my mind and it's in my head, and I will speak it out. And sometimes they look at me as if I have a third head. It's like I'm trying to communicate, but obviously I'm not effective. Right. So I get that vision out, be very specific. I write it down. So one of the specific goals that I have, I'll just use it as a more specific example, is 1 million subscribers on YouTube in the next 3 years. Right. So I look back and I say, okay, what am I doing to accomplish that? Okay, I'm not moving forward today. What can I do to make sure that I'm going to accomplish that goal in the next 3 years?
Got it. Do you, and planning. So planning is your thing. You actually like to do that, to go to the plan to make sure that you're being effective. I like that. Planning
and executing.
So let's do that first. Take the admin part of the show out of the way here. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you, your company, social media links, YouTube pages, all that stuff. We will put it all in the show notes, but it always gets better execution and engagement when they hear it from you.
Well, you can find our YouTube channel, which I think is the best educational channel out there. It's called Trading Strategy Guides. You can just search it out on YouTube, just Trading Strategy Guides on YouTube. Also, our website is tradingstrategyguides.com. And then to find me on LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/n/Casey Stubbs.
We'll put that one in there. I think people know the LinkedIn / whatever. We'll always put the links for you. Don't worry about that part. I just want to make sure we got it on the website as well. Casey, is all right. We go down what I like to call Fun Street here on Thrive Loud. We'll talk about some of the fun things that make you unique and what make you thrive.
Okay. I love fun.
So Casey, tell us, what's your all-time favorite movie?
Well, I have to say that my all-time favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia with Peter O'Toole. It's made in 1962.
Okay. Why does that movie connect so much with you?
Well, it's kind of a unique movie. I've enjoyed it for many, many years. But the thing I liked about it is that Lawrence went to a strange land and connected with a strange people, and not strange as in strange, but just different for him. And he led them to do things that they would never do on their own. He led the tribes of the desert together and just accomplished something really extraordinary using extraordinary leadership. And so I liked the fact that they came together, and I liked the fact that he demonstrated excellent leadership.
It's funny, Casey, I was watching on TV the other day. They had Lawrence of Arabia was on one of the cable channels. And just the other night, The Ten Commandments was on, which was made in 1958. You said that movie was 1962. All of these movies obviously predated CGI in all the ways they did it. And they had so many people on both of those sets. There was such an effort in production to put that stuff together. I don't think people realize how unbelievable it is with some of those epic movies and what a production it was to put together. I mean, like if you were to try to do what they did today, whatever the cost was to put together, then you might need to add 100 million. It just wouldn't work. But they really are impressive, right? From that aspect of it.
That aspect is really impressive, and I enjoyed it. It's it's a little bit on the slow side for some people, but I always pay a lot of attention and try to catch all of the little things that I missed the previous time of watching, because it is a 3-hour movie.
That's true. Casey, do you have a song that when you're like need to get yourself pumped up or jammed out, a certain jam that you like to listen to that's of late, that is that beat of yours you want to hear to get you going?
So here's the thing about me, and I am, again, it's a little unique. I'm not a music guy. I honestly almost never listen to music. This is, my wife tries to get me a little more interesting, but if I'm listening to something, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm learning how to do something. I'm listening to an audiobook, like how to improve something. It's like I don't listen to music at all, ever.
That is spectacular. And I love listening to podcasts, and it's funny. I need a little mix of both, but that's good. I guess, you get your jam could be a podcast. Maybe soon we'll make the Thrive Loud podcast your jam. We'll see what we can do. Casey, definitely fun here. Great stuff going on in this time of a lot of people trying to figure out how they can learn, how they can grow and develop. And obviously in a pretty challenging time with what's going on with COVID-19 as we are recording this right in the midst of it. Any key messages you'd like to shout out to our listeners on things that they can do that as an entrepreneur has been helpful, and ways that they can keep that perspective to help move forward?
I think the biggest thing that I could leave is just to be an action taker. I read a lot of books and I go to a lot of training, and I go to conferences and I do all these things, but every single time I always walk away with an action statement, something that I'll apply. I don't ever want to learn something and not take action. And so for no matter where you're at, if you're in a tough place, if you're losing your work, I lost my job in 2008, just like people might be losing their work now, but I made a plan and I took action. And so if you are an action taker, you're going to be able to move forward.
Casey Stubbs, Trading Strategy Guides. Thanks, man, for coming on the show today. This has been fun, educational, and best of success, and be safe to yourself and your family.
Thank you.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.